Hey guys, we are here. We're back from New York City on a tour, back in our home theater here at the Eccles Theater in Salt Lake City to see Come From Away.
Yeah, this is the second stop on the national tour, so I'm excited we're finally getting some first run shows here in our hometown.
It's pretty awesome that Eccles brought this for us. I mean, this show is still playing in New York City, still selling out in New York City, and it's awesome to have the first run tour here in Salt Lake.
I love this show. You know, sometimes when I try to describe it to my friends, you tell it's kind of the story of 9/11, but it really isn't. It's about a part of 9/11 that most people don't know.
So Gander used to be the place where all the planes would fuel up before they crossed the ocean, and obviously we got better plane technology and things progressed, and they didn't need that airport anymore. So they have this massive airport that's just sitting there and no longer in use. And so when the American airspace was closed, it was a perfect place to divert all of those planes that were already in the air that could no longer enter the US.
Yeah, so it was like hundreds and hundreds of people that just flooded this tiny little town. And
over 7,000,
yeah,
right? Like it literally almost doubled the population of the town.
It's the story about how all these people came together, how the townspeople served the people on the airplanes, how they forged relationships in the middle of all this hard times. It really kind of hits you right in the heart. You know, there's no intermission, it just keeps going and going, and you just don't want it to stop. I remember sitting in New York City the first time we saw this and just being blown away and just wanting them to start over again and watching it again.
Seriously, just like replay. But yeah, this show has a lot of energy, like Lee said. All of the actors play multiple characters. It's got a lot of comedy, and it's kind of about those little things that make us who we are.
I'm excited to welcome Salt Lake City to the Rock. Let's go check it out.
Pretty excited to be here at the Eccles, and so excited to have this first run show here in Salt Lake City. We're gonna go check it out. Here we go.
Your mind blown?
My mind is blown. Tonight we had a chance to go to the Eccles Theater here in Utah. It was nice to be home and kind of back in our home theater, but it was even more nice to be able to see Come From Away coming to Salt Lake City. So Come From Away is such an awesome story. This story kind of breaks my heart and kind of heals it all over again. I like that this show allows us to relive the story of 9/11, but in a really sweet, heartfelt way. I love this story of kindness and of opening one's heart and home and helping others.
I love that part too, you know, like sitting there watching these characters look at the TV screen and realize what was happening while they were trapped on an airplane, but then also coming full circle to see that love and that service. Like it was the same thing. It was like broken heart but healed all in the same hour-and-a-half show.
Right. I can't say enough great things about Come From Away. What was your first?
My first, I love the pacing of this show because it just keeps moving and moving and moving, and the pace and the rhythm of the show, you just never want it to stop. And the thing about the pacing, it's also with the rhythm of the music. It all just feels like it's one beat moving along all the way to the end of the show.
Absolutely, and that kind of ties into my first. I really love that they weave the music into the storytelling in this show. I mean, obviously that's what happens in musicals, right? But in other shows, there's literally a point where like you can see it coming on and they pull a face and then they burst out into song, right? That's not how this is. The storytelling of this show is the music of this show, and it really fits hand in hand into the pacing of what Lee was just talking about. The storytelling is very unique in this show. It is unlike anything I've seen.
Yeah. So my number two, I think, you know, there's this very small cast, and they play a lot of different characters, and it's amazing to me how like within literally 5-10 seconds or sometimes even less, they can flip from doing an accent of a Newfoundlander or then going into, you know, an American or somebody from Texas or somebody from Africa, and I don't know how they could keep up. Like honestly, I think that would be so hard because they're just flipping back and forth, and they're able to keep their accent, and by changing their shirt and changing their accent, they magically become another character, and I think they do such a great job with it.
I definitely would second that. My number two is the set, and you guys are probably tired of hearing me talk about sets, but this one's a little different. This show has an extremely minimal set. The set is very basic. It's got this really cool vibe to it, but there's not much to it. There's no cars, and there's no buildings and houses and things like that. It's pretty much just the same environment with some chairs that move around and a turntable. It's very basic, and the reason why I really love that they went with this is because it allows the set to not be a distraction, and it just focuses strictly on the storytelling. That being said, when you do that in a show, sometimes it leaves some holes, And that's what's so great about the pacing of this show and the talent of these actors, is that they pick up those holes from the set maybe not being as elaborate, and they just throw them right on their backs, and they carry it throughout the entire show. It doesn't need an elaborate set. This story stands on its own, and it's wonderful. So what was your opportunity?
Okay, so my opportunity is, honestly, I wish the Tony Awards could give out 2 Tonys, because, you know, Come From Away came up against Dear Evan Hansen. Both amazing shows. They're both like my children. I love each one of them, like, tremendously. Dear Evan Hansen won out. Come From Away in any other year would have won the Tony. But, you know, maybe that was a good thing. I don't know.
Yeah, this show continues to sell out. And honestly, I think this show continues to have the ability to sneak up on people. They don't have preconceived notions of what it is or what it isn't. They're just there and they're present, and that story takes over.
I love when I hear from friends that we've recommended it to, and they don't know anything about it. I'm like, just trust me. Just trust me. It's going to be great. My boss just sent me an email this morning. He's like, oh, everything you said about it was right. Like, that was so great.
Yep.
I love getting emails like that. So if you see this show, drop us a comment, because we want to know what you think about it.
Definitely, absolutely do that. I think my opportunity for this show is... I don't have an opportunity for this show. There's just so much that's right about this show. I thought about different things that could be an opportunity, and I just didn't want anyone to have any kind of misunderstanding that I thought there was something that this show needed to work on, because there isn't. I love this show.
Yeah, I wouldn't change a thing about this show.
I got to give a shout out to Broadway at the Echoes for bringing this show to Utah. And thank you so much to the Come From Away tour for an amazing night at the theater and for coming to Utah.
Yeah, we couldn't recommend this more.
We had a lot of fun going back to Gander and seeing Come From Away tonight. This show has the power to shape lives, and I think it's awesome to hear people's stories about it.
Just stay tuned to our channel. We're going to keep going to shows, because you know what? We love theater, and we hope more people like theater like we do.
Definitely. Drop us a like or go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. We're trying to grow this channel, and love any love and support you can send our way. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.